Arizona says Arpaio lost his 287G status because of his abuse of power.
He has unconstitutionally acted to racially profile many persons in the community, persons who appear or are Latino.
ACLU attorney Dan Pacoda says Arpaio's high-profile crime suppression sweeps target all Latinos, legal and illegal. The ACLU has filed a class action lawsuit against him. The sheriff and his department are currently at the center of an investigation by the Department of Justice into allegations of civil rights abuses.
I got news for all of these critics, all of these politicians, because I'm going to continue to do everything I've been doing.
And the sheriff says he will continue to enforce immigration laws in his state. Immigrants' rights groups say they will continue to fight him.
These are the faces of a rare disease, male breast cancer. Marines or children of Marines who believe their illnesses came from drinking and bathing in toxic tap water at Camp Lejeune decades ago. Within 2 weeks after CNN's story first aired, the number of men coming forward with this disease has nearly doubled. The total is now 40, all Marines or their children.
That's blown me away. I mean, I expected to find some. But to double our number with just one story, and it begs to ask, how many people are out there with male breast cancer from Camp Lejeune?
Mike Partain was one of those we first interviewed. As a result of the story, he's been asked to testify before the U.S. Senate Veterans Affairs Committee this week. Partain was born at Camp Lejeune 40 years ago.
I do not drink. I do not smoke. I was diagnosed at the age of 39. There is no history of breast cancer anywhere in my family, male or female. I was exposed while my mother was pregnant with me to chemicals in the drinking water. I was poisoned.
Representative John Dingell has long pushed for cleanup and accountability for contaminated military sites, including Camp Lejeune.
Well, it's an outrage. Frankly, it should not be permitted. And it smacks of active deceit, dishonesty, irresponsibility of the environmental concerns, and quite honestly, putting their people at risk.
The Marine Corps says drinking water at Camp Lejeune is now cleaned up, but acknowledges it was badly contaminated. In a written statement, the Marines point out that several scientific studies have not identified a link between exposure to the historically impacted water at Camp Lejeune and adverse health effects. With no proven link, many of those who are sick are denied VA benefits. Senator Kay Hagan from North Carolina, where Camp Lejeune is located, says these people deserve help.
I think they've worked their entire careers successfully completing the mission that they were asked to start. And I think it should be our mission to give them complete answers on the water contamination issues. And if we stop now, our mission will not be accomplished.
Partain says that would be a start.
It is up to the Senate and up to Congress to force the Marine Corps to answer these questions and hold their feet to the fire when they give them the answers and make them explain their answers. That's the only way we're going to get to the bottom of the truth of this.
Senator Hagan has just sponsored a bill that would give VA medical benefits to Marines and their families who may have been exposed to contaminated water at Camp Lejeune. Abby Boudreau, CNN, Washington.
An Arab feminism conference. That's right, feminism conference. Think about that for a second. In the Middle East, got underway in Lebanon this week and saw an active participation from women from around that region, but it did not get a lot of media play. And even online, there wasn't much chatter generated about it. So, What happened there, and what does that mean for the struggle a lot of women across the region are fighting for? They're fighting for equal rights. They're fighting for some basic rights that women in the West sometimes won't understand. CNN Middle East Affairs senior editor Octavia Nasser joining us now to put some of this in perspective for us. So this is a big deal, this major conference.
Big deal. Major, major deal. As a matter of fact, it's capturing the attention of Western media, not so much local media. I have to say, print media in Lebanon did cover the story, not much regionally. They didn't get much attention. But here, I've been getting all kinds of emails with updates on the story. And I've spoken with the organizers and even the star of that conference. But the organizers, first of all, they're called the Feminist Collective. Take a look at their work online. For example, they're very active, they're very organized. They have their own website. As a matter of fact, they posted to YouTube some of the conversations, some of the debates that they had at the American University in Beirut. And I was able to listen to some of that and spoke to, as I said, the organizers. But I also spoke with a young woman by the name of Zaina Zatari. She's a feminist herself, and she just explained to me the difference between a women's movement, you know, the women's movement as they were known in the Middle East, and this feminist movement that is seeing a very nice birth, she tells me. She said the conference itself was very successful. She was the star of that. She introduced a new topic. She introduced a new notion. She talked about a woman owning her body and a woman owning the expression of her body. So basically, she's someone who's saying if a woman can't express her sexuality, if she can't be herself, if she can't own her body, she doesn't need a reference, a male reference to feel comfortable with her body and herself, there is no way that women are going to move ahead and improve and change the status quo.
And for women who already sort of enjoy the ability to do that and that right, can you explain what it is exactly she means by telling us what it is they would like to change? What is it that they don't have now?
What they do want to change is the whole system, which is very patriarchal. For example, take the example of Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, women just want to drive. They can't drive their own cars, and they're being intimidated into not fighting for that basic right. In Lebanon, a woman can't give a citizenship to her own children, and that is something that is very infuriating. It's bothering a lot of people. It's upsetting many people, and they're fighting for that right for years. Even since I was a child, this has been on the agenda. What you're looking at here, they're political cartoons made by a Saudi woman, and basically they describe the status quo inside Saudi Arabia. There you're looking at a car, two women in the back, and a young man driving the car, and you see this is part of that intimidation campaign. They're trying to tell women that if you drive your own car, all these men in the other cars, they're going to be harassing you, and that's not going to be good for you. Another cartoon that we looked at earlier shows polygamy and how hurtful polygamy is for women. For people who don't know, polygamy is widespread in the Middle East, and here you're looking at a woman basically with her heart taken out of her body. She's heartbroken, while her husband there on her right-hand side is marrying someone else. So basically, while polygamy is accepted in major parts of the Middle East, this Saudi woman is highlighting the fact that it is hurtful to women, and not many people are paying attention to that. So this feminist movement is trying to draw attention and highlighting these issues, that women are human beings and women are independent beings, and they need to be treated this way.
Now, we're seeing these cartoons, and these are freely being put out there and published. Is that a big deal, that they can do this without suffering any sort of consequence?
That is a big deal, because anytime, even today, when I mentioned that this is going to be the topic of conversation, I did not hear from the women of the Middle East that I would have expected to hear from. The vocal women, they did not speak up. Anytime you bring up the issue of feminism or women's rights, many women are mute. They're quiet. They feel that they don't want to shake up the status quo. They don't want to make waves. They want things to remain as they are, because they feel that the fight is too big and it might lead to negative consequences. So many women don't speak up for that reason. So anytime you see anything in the media, anybody speaking up, like at that forum,